Okay, so hand to trap is actually, it's short for hand to trapeze, like hand to hand, but hand to trapeze. And it's a discipline it's combining the sort of duo trapeze and hand to hand. The first show that sort of gave me the idea for hand to trap was when I worked on Paramour with Cirque du Soleil, which was a Broadway Cirque du Soleil show, and it was very much, you know, telling a narrative, telling a story. And in the story, the female character had to choose between two men, and one man had a lot of power and one man was more equal. And I was trying to find an acrobatic language that I thought would really tell that story properly and just kind of symbolize what that choice would be. So I had the idea if one of the men, the one with all the power, was up in the air and the other guy was on the ground, and then it would be physicalizing and exemplifying that choice of moving between these two men. So that was the original idea, and we created a trio, and it just had so much acrobatic potential because it was naturally doubled in potential because you had everything you could do as a duo in the air and everything you could do as a duo on the ground. So mathematically you have twice the vocabulary, but then of course you have the third vocabulary, which is the transfers. And it created an entirely new acrobatic vocabulary that was just so much fun. So having done Paramour, the next show I did was Crystal, Cirque du Soleil ice show, and wanting to explore hand to trap even more, but instead of having just one person on the ground, one porter on the ground, I thought it would be good to have a clump, like many porters. So there's just much more potential in large dismounts that could be caught by many people. In this case, it was on ice. We also had skaters. So sometimes the flyer was taken onto the ice and skated around in beautiful portées. So that just added a whole other dimension, not only the fact we had several people on the ground, but the fact we were on the ice, and acrobatically, once again, we were able to explore all sorts of other material. And the next show I did was Passager. So once again, I wanted to put in hand to trap. And there it was similar, where we had a large group on the ground, but we explored, partly through a lot of propositions from the cast as well and their vocabulary, we explored more swing and tarp vocabulary with hand to trap, where previously it was much more literal hand-to-hand and bunking moves and dismounts from the trapeze, but we were able to explore tarp language, which included, you know, sort of those full body throws and catches. And that opened up yet again a whole other type of language, you know, three highs that fall from into the, you know, fall into the catch. So once again, it was super fun to sort of explore that. So, and then again for dual reality, we used it as the final act because it was sort of symbolizing, allowing Romeo and Juliet to come together in love and peace, but having the rest of the group there supporting it and celebrating that. And Dear San Francisco, we put it in Dear San Francisco as well, and it was in Dear San Francisco, the concept of it is love. And in fact, what was fun with Dear San Francisco and different from the other shows was we were able to change who was porting and who was flying and constantly switching couples, which gave even more fluidity and more dynamism in the act. And also, once again, was consistent with the concept of love is love, of having different combinations of couples, different combinations of genders of couples. And that was just really beautiful to see okay, now it's a male-male duo, now it's a female trio, now it's a male-female duo, and just sort of experimenting with all of the different relationships we were watching unfold. And then we also did it in Mon et Mon Cœur. And that was super fun because we had two trapezes. So again, got to explore even more vocabulary because we could play with a flyer coming off of one trapeze, crossing the stage without touching, you know, with the porters, and being thrown to another trapeze and having the trapezes connect. And so one more time, we were able to kind of open up the box of possibilities acrobatically, choreographically, and dramatically.